Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will be talking about the effect of COVID-19 on the Indian automotive industry. Here's a small introduction on how COVID-19 affected the entire Indian economy. According to Nomura Indian Business Resumption Index, economic activity fell from 82.9 on 22nd March to 44.7 on 26th April. It was only by 13th September 2020 the economic activity was nearly back to its pre-lockdown state. Major companies in India such as Bharat Forge, Ultratech Cement, Aditya Birla Group, etc. significantly reduced their operations due to the pandemic. To summarize, here's a graphical representation that shows the effect of COVID-19 on the Indian economy. In the graph, we see the loss that was there during a modest partial lockdown, strict partial lockdown, and a full lockdown in the country, all in the year 2020. You may pause the video if you want to have a better look at the graphs. Now, here's a graph that shows India's import of goods from China during the pandemic. We can see that there was hardly any import of animal products, food products, minerals, etc., whereas there was a massive import of products like machines, electricals, and also chemicals. The effect of COVID-19 on the automotive industry of India. We all know that the automotive industry is one of the core sectors of the Indian economy as it contributes majorly to the national economy as well as the GDP of the country. The pandemic induced lockdown resulted in the shutting down of production at the original equipment manufacturers. It also led to the disruption of the value chain of major industries, which negatively affected production of auto spare parts in micro, small, and medium sized industries in India. Here's a graph that shows the automotive retail sales in India in millions of units of passenger vehicles, two wheelers, and commercial vehicles. You may pause the video in order to have a better look at the graphs. Now, here's a graph that shows the percentage change of automotive retail sales in India of passenger vehicles, two wheelers, and commercial vehicles. The pandemic affected the automotive industry of India in drastic ways, which in turn caused many long term effects. Due to the pandemic, many automakers were forced to prioritize the capital projects, and hence autonomous vehicle technology took a backseat to other pressing advancements such as electric vehicles. One of the main effects of the pandemic were many consumers who previously relied on a shared economy or public transport switched to private transport due to social distancing and other factors.
The education sector in India plays a significant role in a country with the second largest population in the world. This sector offers a great opportunity with nearly 26.31% of India's population in the age group of 0 to 14 years. And India had nearly 37.4 million students enrolled in higher education in the year 2018 and 19. This shows how big the Indian education sector is. The market size, sector composition, and key trends of the Indian education sector is displayed on the slide. Now let us have a look at the education sector before COVID. Education, which was once considered a largely philanthropic activity, by the end of 2019 was considered as a lucrative business with opportunities ranging from preschool right up to higher education. The pie chart displayed on the screen shows the crisis faced by students during the pandemic. Under the National Education Policy 2021, government will establish various educational institutions and schemes for the benefit of students. COVID helped reveal other statistics which were related to the education sector, such as the number of students who have computer or internet at various levels of education. Looking into the final analysis of the education sector during COVID-19, the education sector has not made much profit, neither has it faced any great loss compared to other sectors. Educational institutions help provide various benefits during this pandemic to other sectors, such as the electronics sector, which saw a great increase in the number of sales during this pandemic, as well as the educational app, which gained the top 10 position in the Google Play categories. Coming to the end of this presentation, it is a serious question which we raise: how to face upcoming challenges in the educational sector. Students and teachers could be vaccinated and classes could be started as soon as possible in an offline way or a hybrid way. And with appropriate and timely interventions by the Government of India, this sector could flourish and raise India to another level.
Why are masks important, and what are the various types of masks that are produced or manufactured within India? The importance of masks. Ever since the pandemic has struck India, masks have become one of the primary stages of protection against COVID. However, since the vaccines have come out, people have been neglecting their masks. Thus, we're trying to emphasize the importance of masks during this pandemic and how they could help protect us from COVID and drastically limit the transmission of this virus. Ever since the pandemic has struck India, people have started to use various kinds of masks and face shields in order to protect themselves from the coronavirus. So the three main types of masks in circulation are cloth mask, surgical mask, and the N95 mask. According to Dr. Giridhar Babu, who is a life course head at the Public Health Foundation of India, wearing a cloth mask is better than not wearing any mask, as it could protect people from the virus by extensively limiting the transmission of this infection. The second kind of mask is the surgical mask. According to Dhiren Gupta, who is a pediatrician at a hospital in New Delhi, these surgical masks are thin, cheap, have 3 layers, and they protect us from the virus. The third kind of mask is the N95 mask and provides the most protection against this virus. It's designed in such a way that the edges form a seal around the nose and the mouth to prevent air from passing through the sides. Because if air can go through, then the virus can as well. An important note is that while wearing an N95 mask, we need to make sure that it does not have a valve. If your mask has a valve, then you could wear a surgical mask over it in order to block the virus. Thus, it's important to wear masks while traveling or out in public during this pandemic in order to limit or prevent the transmission of the coronavirus. The difference in the production of masks before COVID struck India and during COVID. There has been a huge difference in the production and demand for masks before COVID and during COVID. Before COVID, there were less than 25 mask manufacturers. However, when the pandemic started, the demand for masks increased and the mask industry expanded rapidly between January and April 2020. For example, before COVID, the production of 3-ply masks was at 2 million pieces a day. However, during COVID, this rose to 20 million pieces a day. Similarly, Production of N95 masks before COVID was 0.5 million pieces a day, but when the pandemic started, this number rose to 7 million pieces a day. A 3-ply mask is a mask that has 3 layers of fabric which would help us breathe clean air. A ban on the export of masks in India. Why was it placed and when was it revoked? As the coronavirus cases started to surge in India, it led to a crisis of availability of masks within the country. Due to this, the centre banned the export of all types of masks other than non-medical and non-surgical masks to foreign countries. This order was passed to ensure that there would be no shortage of masks and resources in India. This order came from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Department of Commerce, and Office of the Director General of Foreign Trade, or DGFT. According to the chairman of the Knitwear Club, the effects of this order were a large number of unsold PPE suits. Due to the high production of masks and overalls all over India, a large number of unsold PPE suits and masks were lying at every manufacturing unit. The second effect was that a large number of businessmen who had entered this field stopped manufacturing due to a huge drop in sales. For example, the rate of a PPE suit, which was around Rs 650 in April and May, wouldn't even sell for Rs 200 after the ban was placed. Thus, exports were the only hope, as there would still be a demand for suits and masks globally at a much better rate. Then, on 25th August 2020, a notification given by the Director General of Foreign Trade, or DGFT, stated that this ban was revoked. Why is it important to wear masks while we're traveling, especially while seated in cars or while riding bikes? According to BBMP, it is now compulsory for all those traveling in cars, even if they are alone with the windows rolled up, to wear masks. The same applies to two-wheeler riders. This order was issued by BBMP Commissioner Manjunath Prasad. And for all those who don't follow these guidelines, a fine of Rs 250 will be imposed. The reasons for this order being, according to Justice Pratibha M. Singh, who is a sitting judge in the Delhi High Court, a person travelling in a car could still have been exposed to the virus. He or she could have visited a market, a busy street, a workplace, a mall, or a shop prior to entering a car. They could also stop at traffic signals and roll down their windows for ventilation or to purchase something from roadside vendors. Thus, through these small contacts, the virus could be transmitted from person to person. Hence, it's much safer to wear masks even while traveling as a precautionary method and to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The future of the mask industry in India. The future of mask industry in India. India is expected to emerge as one of the main exporters of masks in the world. In an article called Art Valley, it was stated that in Europe there is a major need for masks manufactured in India for protection against the COVID-19 outbreak. The reason being that the combined import from China and the local production is not enough to meet the increasing demand. China covers only half of the global demand, and India could soon enter the market as the second largest producer in the world. According to K.S. Sundararaman, a chairman of Indian Technical Textile Association, Indian manufacturers make surgical, respirator, and cloth masks that have high particulate filtration efficiency and breathability. Similarly, according to Mr. Sundararaman, there are world-class manufacturing facilities in India that have the capacity to meet Indian needs and those of exports too. Raja M. Shanmugan, who is the president of Tirupur Exporters Associations, says that Tirupur, which has not been a healthcare products manufacturing hub so far, has ventured into production of masks, coveralls, and PPE suits. Even during the lockdown, there have been almost 200 machines that were imported and installed by companies in Tirupur. Therefore, the future of the mask industry and mask business seems to be very bright in India. Here are some findings and diagrams that show the number of people within India who wear masks. A survey conducted revealed that although there is a high level of awareness around wearing a mask, the compliance is very low. The population of India is 139 crores, out of which only 44% of the public are completely compliant in terms of wearing masks. The reasons for non compliance are as follows: breathing problems, according to 50% of the population, followed by discomfort and inconvenience at 44%. Lastly, 45% of the respondents feel that as long as social distancing is maintained, masks are not needed. Similarly, from the age group of 26 to 35 years, people believe that social distancing suffices as a preventive measure and are not convinced about the ability of a face mask to control the spread of a virus. From the age group of 36 to 55 years, the compliance towards wearing masks was highest.
In this presentation, we showcase the activity of three main industries during the pandemic. The first was the automotive industry that faced a huge loss in terms of production and income due to the pandemic. The second was the educational sector, an industry that remained stable. Lastly, the mask and medical industry, which profited in many ways due to the pandemic. And hence, this was one of the very few sectors that prospered. Why Avishkar? Well, Avishkar gave us the opportunity to know more about the pandemic and also how various industries functioned during this time. Hence, we, as a part of the economics department, took the initiative of researching about the activity of some of the main industries in India that were affected in various ways. Thank you all for your time and patience. We hope you enjoyed our presentation.